Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
What happens when you reach the top and then everything gets ripped from under you? Not because you failed, but because the system couldn't hold you. Today's conversation is about being tested, broken, and rebuilt in real time. I'm your host, Edna White, and this is Keeping It Real on Purpose. Today, I'm sitting down with none other than TaShun Bowden-Lewis, CEO, founder, criminal defense expert, and transformational leader. I love that transformational leader. With nearly 30 years in public defense, she made history in 2022 as the first Black chief public defender for the state of Connecticut. But what should have been a pinnacle moment in her life turned into one of the most trying seasons of her life when she was wrongfully removed from that role. What followed wasn't just a career shift. It was a test of identity, faith, and resistance. Welcome to the show, TaShun.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here, and I appreciate you.
Oh, my goodness. I appreciate you. So we had the talk before then, so we really know each other now, audience. You know how we really know each other. But I am
Yes.
so proud to know you and your accomplishments. And we
Thank
don't
you.
get to celebrate one another often, but there should be, forget about this Women's Month. It should be every time you meet a woman, celebrate them.
Yes.
And it's so wonderful to meet you and all your accomplishments, knowing that you're right over there. Right over there.
Yes. So close. So close. Yes.
So
Thank
close.
you.
Yeah. So when you were wrongfully ousted, what hurt the most? The loss of the position, or what made you question
Ye-
yourself?
Yeah. I think when everything happened, when everything happened, I thought more so about the communities that I had spent my entire adult life servicing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not being able to be in a position, at least in that way, anymore. To be able to service them and to be able to assist them in that capacity. I
Yeah.
think that was what was the most trying thing for me. But, one thing that I think is so critical is that we have to be able to really be strategic about redirection,
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah, instead of saying what's happening, it's about what is this preparing me for? What is
Yes.
my next step? And
Yes.
so, though it was what it was, it is what it is. I am here and I'm still doing my thing and I am grateful. I'm grateful for everything,
Yeah.
the good and the bad,
Yeah. And I know with the loss of, like you said, the loss of your position, you kind of created, you was more worried about those that you service. And that's what we in our positions, especially Black women, we become the nurturers. And then when we're building.
Mm-hmm.
We're really building those communities.
Yes.
Did it ever make you question who you were when you were kind of ousted out of that position?
No. And see,
Oh,
that's
good.
one thing. Let me tell you, Edna, I was raised by my mother and my grandmother, and I
Yes.
always knew who I was
Mm-hmm.
and whose I belonged to.
Yes.
And so who I am and my value system and all that I believe in has
Right.
never changed. That's my rock. And that's what
Right.
keeps me going and has always been a part of TaShun. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so no,
Yes.
I didn't question, or I didn't question, and I did not second guess. There was no doubt. I mean, of course you're shaking. I'm shaking because,
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have a household. I had to, things I had to get
Yes.
done and I had to
Of
pay
course.
bills, that kind of thing. But who I am, that will never change.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that foundation that I received in my home when I was a little child.
Yeah. Yeah. How much leadership is about performance?
Mm. Leadership happens in many forms, in many ways, but it is important because everything starts from the top and trickles down, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't have to have the title to be a leader. I just need to be able to do what I do best and be able to be
Yes.
the example and the model for other people. So, it's not about performance.
Right.
It's
Okay.
about who you really are and what you're trying to do. You have to have a vision to be a leader,
Mm-hmm.
People are leaders in, quote unquote, in many ways, but
Right.
what are they leading you to? And what are
Right.
they, trying to navigate you through?
Right.
Those are hallmarks of a leader, not just
Mhm.
about saying, hey, I have the title, I have the position, I have the money. That comes with it. Yeah, it does.
Right.
That
Right.
should not be what undergirds who you are as a person and what you're doing for the
Mhm.
team, because it is about a team that you're working with and for.
Right. Yeah. And I found as a leader too, in a lot of community things, it's not about me. It's about, leaving a legacy, teaching other people to take over after me. Because why would
Yes.
you not teach other people to lead if you're gone? Because
Mhm.
I've seen it so many times, and I know you have with
Yeah.
organizations, with companies. They don't teach their vice presidents or whomever, that is under them how to
Mhm.
lead if they're not there. So what happens is their business shuts down when they shut down.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's not proper leadership. That's, you're looking for, I don't know what you're looking for, but that's not proper leadership. You want, even if you create a nonprofit
Right. Mhm.
organization, you want that to go on without you. You don't want it to
Succession
die with
planning.
you.
That's right. Succession planning is a part of leadership because none of us are going to be anything forever. We
Right,
get
right,
older, we have, shifts in life, that kind of a
right.
thing. And so to be able to pass the baton
Mhm.
willingly, not because you're forced to willingly,
Right,
to be able
exactly.
yeah, to be able to feed into somebody else who you can
Yes,
see based on who, their merit, what they've been doing,
right.
that they can actually take up that mantle and run with it and go beyond what
That's
you've done.
right. Yeah,
That's a part of leadership and a critical part, I believe.
it's so important, so
Yes,
important, so
yes.
important. What
Mhm,
part of, in leadership is there politics? Because I know you have been in
mhm,
a position that, oof, yeah, has
mhm,
some politics in it.
mhm.
How much of it was
Yeah.
politics?
The majority is
Wow.
politics, and you don't and depending on your industry, I'll say,
Right.
though, it could vary,
Mhm.
but politics infiltrates so many different things because those who are at the
Yes, it
very, very
does.
top many times want to
Yeah,
stay there and
yeah.
at it by any means necessary, and
That's
so, really, and so it's
that is correct.
having
Any
to,
means.
play the game,
Mhm.
that's so can be a part of it, and if you're not willing to play the game, if you're not
Yeah,
willing to sacrifice, again, who you are,
right.
then
Exactly.
there
Yes.
are consequences to that.
Yep. That is exactly right.
Mhm,
Just being, the president of a chamber, I never knew. I never delved into politics before.
mhm,
But just being the president of a chamber and how cross-sectional everything happens, it's like you can't put a
mhm.
tree down without asking somebody,
Yeah,
is it on
yeah,
the line or not?
yeah, yes, yes, but
Is it
that's
on the
all.
line? Is it on my side? Is it on their side?
Yes.
It's just so
Mhm.
cross-sectional, and you
Yes.
have to get the okay from the gatekeepers, and,
Oh, you just
and
nailed that right
you
there.
gotta get it.
Mm,
So how
yeah.
it's here. It's really here.
Oh
It's
gosh, yes,
it's so even even as I was the co-pastor of a church, right? And they say it's always church and state is separate. No, they're not.
no, they're not.
No,
No,
they're not.
no,
No, they're
unfortunately.
not. We may not speak it, but no, they're not.
Mhm.
They're in there too. They're in
Oh
there
gosh.
too.
Yes, yes. I mean, politics is about relationship building and networking,
Yes. That's
and
exactly right. Yeah.
you have gatekeepers, like you said, and you have those who are opening the doors. You
Right.
know what I mean? But there are
Exactly.
very few of those who
Right.
have enough wherewithal and enough confidence to really open
Yes.
the doors.
Right.
Lots of people are there to handle you and
That's right.
also to keep you in certain spots
Right.
so status quo remains the same.
Right. Yeah. And I do have, and I was like, I just got a new, cabinet of people
Okay.
that are under me now at the chamber. So we just had an election process, and I told
Mhm.
them, don't think that the politicians are gatekeepers. I said, build relationships with them. You shouldn't have a relationship
Yes.
with them because
Mhm.
when I'm gone, you guys have to carry this on, and you guys
Yes.
have a relationship that you can open doors that you need open."
Mhm.
And they were like, "Wow, nobody's ever told us that." I said, "Well, I
Yeah.
had to learn the hard way."
Mhm. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I
Relationships
do have to
are
learn the hard
weird.
way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, that's really good. Oh, I love how we're talking already. So
Yep.
you were the first. I love when we are the first, us Black women, I love it when we are the first.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
being the first often comes with pressure and isolation. What
Mhm.
did that role cost you personally?
You know what? Because well, I think the biggest thing
Mm,
was, the time,
yeah,
personal time for myself and for, my family,
tell that.
because but it's the truth, right? I mean, I was getting in there, early in the morning, and then I wasn't
Yes.
leaving until 10, 11 o'clock at night, and it was
Yes.
an hour drive to get from the job back home. So I wasn't
Yep.
getting home sometimes until 11 o'clock, or midnight, and
Yes.
that and it takes a toll on,
It
the
does.
body, as well as, again, the family,
Yes.
because you're not home.
Right,
You're
right,
not there. You're
right,
missing things. You're not
yes,
able, and if you're there, you're not fully present because you're thinking about,
right,
"Okay, I need to make this phone call. I need to do this.
right,
I need to do that."
exactly. Yeah.
So it was a physical toll, as well as a personal in terms of familial situation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you think, looking back now, and you could tell some young woman or even older women like us that are maybe going back to work, or do you think that you would suggest, considering time for your family when you're
Mhm.
considering a job? Would you
It's a
say?
must. It's a
Mhm.
must. I mean, the cliche now is work-life balance, but it's really not a cliche. It's a real thing,
It's
and you have
real.
yeah, you have to be,
Yeah,
proactive in making sure that
yeah,
that's done because when you look around there are others who are in positions of, power and authority who are
mhm,
taking sabbaticals, who are
right,
taking 6 weeks of vacation, who
right,
are every month have a several days off for a mental health day.
right,
Um, you
right,
know, but then you look at you and you're like, "Well, but I'm here till again.
right,
I don't take
right,
any time.
yes,
I'm just"
yes, yes,
And
yes,
so
yes,
it's
and
critical
yes, yes.
anyone in leadership, to
Mhm,
remember to prioritize self
yes,
and that you've got to incorporate that into your schedule intentionally because if you don't, then the work is going to just
yeah,
overrun you and everything else. So
right.
yes. Mhm.
I like that. I think that, um, talking one to one, one Black woman to the other, it's so very important to remember that. And I know
Yes.
that's why I started my own business because I wanted to be able to leave and pick my son up,
Yeah.
come back
Yeah.
when I wanted to,
Yes.
take that time off. And
Mhm.
then, most of my adult life, I worked for myself. When I
Mhm.
got older, and closed my, real estate business or sold it rather,
Yeah.
um, I went back to work. Why
Mm.
did I do that? I I was like and I was in my 50s. I was like, "Oh, I don't like these people. I don't like these people. I don't like them." And then,
Mhm. Yeah.
being mature and
Yeah.
evolving in your own spiritual life
Yes.
and emotional, intelligence, this
Yes.
mouth doesn't stay closed. I don't
Yeah.
care who it is. No, no,
Mhm.
we're not that's a
Mhm.
no-no, and they didn't know what to do with me. And I was like, "Oh, yeah." If you don't know, because I was speaking truth. It wasn't like I was being malicious. I was speaking truth. Why would you do that? And
Yes.
they couldn't do anything with that. Like, I
Mhm.
really and truly wanted to know because you know, um, when I first was there,
Mhm.
um, I was sitting in the meeting and it was 2 or 3
Mhm.
of us that just came in, and so
Mhm.
she called herself "I'm the bee,"
Mm.
and I was like, "This is"
Yeah.
I thought I was in a twilight zone because, like,
Yeah.
I've been in business a long time. I've been around millionaires,
Mhm.
zillionaires. I never heard them in a meeting say that.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, okay, this is a bullying tactic." And before I knew it,
Mm.
I said, "Oh, I know how to handle you." 'Cause, I was and I had I was like, "Oh, this who's" and there was other people there, and I'm like, "They're
Mhm.
not gonna say that's inappropriate?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow."
Mhm.
And exactly how she presented herself, exactly how she treated everyone.
Mm.
I said, "Oh, no. No, I can't. Mm-mm. You won't
Yeah.
be treating me like that. Mm-mm." I
Yes.
told her, "The
Yeah.
day you do that is you're gonna see 2 people come in here with an envelope." "What do you mean by that?" That's exactly what it sounded like.
Yes. Boundaries are
Exactly what it
critical.
sounded like. 'Cause
They
fuck
are.
no, you're not talking to me like
Yes.
any kind of way. No,
You
mm-mm.
gotta have boundaries. Let people know
Yeah,
exactly how
yeah.
far it can go with you, not anybody else, but with you. Yes.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yes, and that's important too on as
Yes.
a leader to have those boundaries
Oh
too,
god. Yes.
it's
Mhm.
so important, and it's so
Yes.
important to stand up for yourself too, and I know
Yes.
on in your position, you had to do that as well.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. I mean, but see, that's the thing too. That's what when you know who you are, that's
Yes.
when it makes it easier because some people are scared
Yeah.
of actually
Right.
speaking truth
Right.
to power.
Right.
And being real, and
Yes.
separating, emotion and getting to the facts. This is
Yeah.
what it is. This
Right.
is how it is, and there's no misperception here.
Right.
And so, when it's easy for someone to be able to say,
Mhm.
"This is who I am,"
Mm.
but it's not always easy for someone to accept that. People are not always
Right.
going to accept that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, but it
Yes.
it's important, especially
Mhm.
when you are in positions of authority, to be able
Yes.
to articulate, without hesitation,
Right.
"These are my thoughts, and these are the
Right.
reasons why," you
Mhm.
know? And then stick, you know, with it. 10 toes
Exactly.
down. This is
Absolutely.
what it is, and I'm not
Right.
changing that because,
Right.
the right is on my side.
Mhm. Right.
Even though things just still are skewed and things may go left,
Mhm.
you know
Mhm.
right is on your side.
Yeah.
And so, that's the most important thing because
Yeah.
positions and titles
Absolutely.
come and go, but identity has to be embedded within you.
Mhm. Right, exactly. So many women now, especially us Black women, we have to economically be to work.
Mhm,
And because of that paycheck, we're
mhm,
we're so afraid of being ourselves. We're so afraid of setting those boundaries. What
mhm,
would you
mhm.
say to that for the audience or people that are actually experiencing that?
Oh gosh, don't be afraid to pivot with power because you can pivot with power. A
Mm,
pivot, even a forced pivot, does not mean you're failed. It just
oh,
means
that's
that you're
true.
evolving.
Right.
And so when you take stock of who you are, which means it could take a day or 2 or whatever, 3 days for you to be again strategic about
Mm.
pausing and thinking about
Mm.
what are my strengths? What are my gifts? What am I going to do now to make sure that my well-being is protected, and
Right, yes,
stabilize
exactly.
yourself. Again, that take away the distractions and take away the emotion, get
Mhm.
down to positioning.
Right.
That's what it's about so that of course, inherently there's fear. Fear comes, but you
Mhm.
can stay
Mhm.
with that fear. You have to reframe it and make your mindset such
Right.
that it is a pivot of power and of evolution, and it's not a fail.
Right.
Because
Oh,
the
that's good.
positions and the titles and the money, it will come again.
Exact
It will come
Girl,
again.
you better say that. It will. Yes.
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 Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't take no shenanigans. Stand in your power.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
What kept you from breaking completely when your foundation was tested?
My faith. I'm a
Mm.
woman of faith, and again, as I was raised, but I have my own relationship with my spiritual side,
Girl,
and so
say that. Go ahead. Say it one more
yeah,
time.
it's I do. I have my own relationship, I do with my spirituality, and
Yes. Say
that
that, girl.
provided
Say
peace.
it.
When you have peace, then you're able to
Yeah.
weather any storm. You
Mhm.
can truly be still.
Right.
And even when the narrative is one that's distorted and there are so many things that are being said or
Yes.
done, or even people that you thought that were in your corner who were really not in your corner, or when the push comes to shove, they are scared to be around.
Right.
It was the faith that brought the peace, which brought
Yes.
me to the point of being able to position to pivot to power and position
Mhm.
myself for growth and strategic redirection.
Right. 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 So tell us a little bit about your organization and what you do.
Sure. Sure. So I have my own business now. I'm excited about that. I have the
Yes.
Bowden-Lewis Consulting Group. So I am a consultant and I'm
Mhm.
also a personal and executive coach. So I do
Okay.
things like leadership development, workshop facilitation, strategic planning. I help with all kind of areas, and I love the fact that, again, I'm still able to help people. That's what I've always wanted to do,
Oh, yeah.
but
That's
in
what
a
we're here
different
for.
way.
We're here for that.
Yes, in a
Oh,
different way now, and so my, consulting group, I do that, the coaching part of it,
okay.
the consultation, the training,
Mhm.
mentoring, those kind of things,
Right.
that's what I do, and I love building curriculum for certain organizations or
Okay, gotcha.
nonprofits. Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
All
Mhm.
right. Good. For leaders that are listening who are being pushed out, overlooked, or silenced, what's
Yeah.
the difference between walking away defeated and walking away aligned like you did?
Yeah. The difference is, again, knowing your identity.
Mm,
Because again, it's moving from reaction to intention. I've got to intentionally get myself together so that I can be clear and I can have the peace and I can move forward.
right,
You got
right.
to take the lessons from the setbacks, not let them keep you back. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
and,
Yes.
again, that peace is so critical, but it is a journey. It's a progression, and you have to be able to know that the pressure that you have to navigate is just one piece of it because it's going to be better, and it's the light is there at the end of the tunnel. So it's just really
Yes.
about knowing that you got to choose and be intentional
Mm-hmm.
about where you're going, what
Right.
you're doing, and how you're presenting yourself. That
Right.
mindset is all up to you. It really is.
Yes.
To be purpose driven and peace. Really, not just purpose, but in peace. That's
Ooh,
critical.
that's good stuff right there. Peace.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so now we're going to shift it to this part that I call break the pattern movement.
Okay.
Okay, where I'm going
Mhm.
to ask you three things: meaning, pattern, and direction. I'm going
Okay,
to ask you to fill in the blank and explain how you fill the blank in. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. When your title is taken, your identity gets
Mhm. Your identity gets, questioned,
okay.
but what happens then is you take that strategic pause to think about and realign yourself so that you remember who you are and you rebound with your values intact, and not as a person who is crippled, but a person who is evolving.
Well, right now, y'all heard that. Y'all heard that. Woo! Okay, now we're at pattern.
Mhm.
We attach our worth to positions, recognition, and validation. So when those things shift, we question.
We question our value, we question our strengths, and we question what we have to offer. But then you've got to think about, I have lived experience because I've done that. I've been there. I have battled the lions and I've won, and so then you go back to credentials are important. Yes, they are, but it's about the confidence to conquer the next dragon. That's what's going to see you through.
Yes.
So, you have the letters behind your name, or you have the experience of over the decades, so you use it. My grandma always
Yes.
told me they could take anything away from you except for what you have in your mind, your
Yeah,
education. So if you have education, or if you have enough lived experience, use it. They can't take that away
absolutely.
from you.
Absolutely. Okay, last one. That was good too. Last one, direction. Resilience is not bouncing back. It's deciding.
Mm. It's deciding that I am more than enough, that I am more than a conqueror, and that I am not going to let them seek, kill, and destroy me because I know who I am.
Oh my goodness. You did it just right. You made us all be quiet. Silence. I love it. Where can we find you around town? What are you doing next so we can get in on it?
Yes. So, okay, I have a website at www.bowdenlewisgroup.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. My name, TaShun Bowden-Lewis Esquire, or the Bowden-Lewis Consulting Group. I'm actually traveling next week to be on a panel in Georgia for the Women of Color Leadership Institute for attorneys, and I'm excited about that. And I am
I'm
always
excited too, and I'm not even there.
yes, I know. I'm always excited to meet with new people and organizations and to help. So I'm around.
Awesome.
Please look me up.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. Audience, if this conversation challenged you, good. That means something in you is ready to shift. I want you to share this episode because this has been amazing. And I am so ecstatic about my new friend, LaShawn. I am
Yes.
so excited for her, for what the doors are going to be opened. And I want you to keep in touch with her. Her information will be below this video and in the audio. So please make sure that you reach out and follow her. Don't be like what do you call those people? Don't follow her like that. Follow her by the work
Yes.
that she does. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Edna.
So share this episode with someone who's navigating pressure, loss, and transition right now. If you're in a season where everything feels like it's being stripped away, this is the episode to listen to so that you can rebuild and not retreat. Thank you so much for being here. This is Edna White, your host, and my esteemed guest. We're going to say goodbye for now.
Thank you. Good night.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.